So what's up people, and welcome to another Warframe video. So in today's video I would like to cover the Guandao, which is a recently released polearm weapon for Warframe. So I've been hearing some good things about this polearm through the various chat channels and stuff like that, and so I thought I'd try it out, and I do agree this is a very nice weapon. And under certain conditions this melee weapon really shines, and so I thought I'd make a video about it and talk about some of the strong points with regards to this weapon. Now this is clan text, so you do have to be in a clan to get this weapon, but if you are, then it is available in the Tenno research area of the dojo. And it's the typical 15,000 credits, so it's relatively available for anybody who is in the clan and who has the availability to the Tenno research area of the dojo. Now the Warframe Guandao is based upon a traditional Chinese Shaolin weapon, also named the Guandao, or more formally the Yangyue Dao, and I apologize for the pronunciation or the mispronunciation of it. And the translation of the weapon is the reclining moon blade. And the weapon was named after a famous Chinese general of the 3rd century named Guan Yu, and it does have that characteristic notch at the top of the blade, which I guess was used to catch and disarm the enemy's weapon using that notch. Now with regards to the Warframe version of the weapon, one of the key noticeable features is that it only requires a mastery ranking of 4. So this is a weapon that's quite available even for relatively new players, so long as they have access to a clan dojo's research area. And since it only costs about 15,000 credits, it's also not that expensive, and so this is a weapon that's relatively available early on in the game. And considering it's an early game weapon, it actually has some very nice statistics. Now because the Guandao is a polearm blade, its main damage comes from slash, with its secondary damage coming from impact. Also because the Guandao is a polearm, it has a very long reach, and it's equivalent to the reach of the Orthos Prime, which many people will know is one of the longest reaching melee weapons available in the game. So this is very nice with regards to being able to attack the enemy from relatively far away and to go after many enemies at once. Now unfortunately it does have a relatively slow speed, and it is one of the slowest polearm weapons in the game, so it does require some modding to improve the speed. Also it has a relatively low status value of 4%, so you should never use this mod this for a status build, but it does have a very high critical chance value of 34%, so this weapon is ideal for a critical build. Okay, so now here is how I have it currently modded. It's not particularly ideal build, but it is the one I have right now, so I wanted to show it. And I have it modded with the 3 basic melee primed mods of Prime Pressure Point, Prime Reach, and Prime Fury. Again, Reach and Fury are there to take advantage of its long reach and to correct for its slow speed. Of course, if you don't have the primed versions, then you could always use the standard ones. Now aside from that, everything else is focused on the critical capabilities. So True Steel is there for increasing the critical chance, Organ Shatter is there for increasing the critical damage. However, since they are not particularly large percentage increases, I did want to add some other mods that will help improve the critical capabilities. So I've added a maxed out Blood Rush as well as Body Count. So as you know, Blood Rush will increase its critical chances as you perform combos, and Body Count of course keeps that combo duration going for a while. And since I do like slide attacks, I've decided to put in a maiming strike. And as you can see, when you max it out with Prime Pressure Point, you do have a 500 spin attack value. And when you put a maiming strike on, then you could actually get some pretty decent damage and some pretty decent crits out of this weapon. So I do have to say that this isn't an easy weapon to mod for relatively new players, since you do require some advanced mods from it, and the weapon is probably easier to get than the mod. Now, for people who do not like to do slide attacks, then you may want to use something like Drifting Contact rather than Maiming Strike, so that you can continue to increase the combo durations, which will make Blood Rush even more effective. Okay, so to test out this weapon, I want to start off with just one single level 100 Arid Heavy Gunner. And as you know, since the Heavy Gunner is a high armor enemy, a bladed weapon isn't particularly the best weapon for it, but it'll be a good way to find out just how well the weapon will do. Now, I do like this Warframe invisibility option now, because I don't have to worry about the frame getting killed, and we could just look at how the weapon works. Now, since Blood Rush does require spool up time for when the combo multipliers come in, but once the multipliers start kicking in, as you can see, the weapon does a pretty good job of taking out even relatively high enemies such as a level 100 Heavy Gunner. Now, to show you just how useful Blood Rush can be, let's try the same thing now, except we could remove Blood Rush. I think I'll keep body count in there because I do want to keep the combo durations on. It's just that you won't get as much critical advantage from the combos because you no longer have Blood Rush. And so we'll use the same level 100 Arid Heavy Gunner, and we'll see how this one goes. So, you know, you still do get some crits. I mean, you do see yellow crits that are showing up in the attack. However, if you recall in the previous attack with Blood Rush on, those yellow crits eventually became orange crits and the damage became significantly higher. So by this time, we would have already have gotten rid of this Arid Heavy Gunner if we had Blood Rush still on. But as you can see, it's taking a significantly longer time to take this enemy down, just by removing that one particular mod. Now, since I'm not doing any slide attacks right now, the removal of the Maiming Strike really didn't mean anything. However, as you can see, the Blood Rush does turn out to be quite useful in improving the capabilities of this weapon. Okay, so next, with all the mods back in again, let's take a look at how the reach effect works for this weapon. So as you can see, even from this far away, this melee weapon actually reaches the enemy. And so this weapon, the Guandao, has a seriously long reach capability, and when you're up against multiple enemies, you could take out a good number of them, even with one single swipe of this. Whoa. Oh, she fell through the edge. Well, okay. In any case, you could see that the reach of this weapon is pretty insane, especially if you put something like a reach mod into this weapon. Okay, so now, since we looked at how these mods work, let's try it out on 10 level 100 Heavy Gunners rather than 1. And in this case, as you can see, because of its long reach, the Guandao is able to go up in its combo multipliers relatively quickly, because of course that depends upon how many times you hit the enemy. And when you have this many enemies and this longer reach, you could actually see that it works pretty well. And by this time, with the combo multiplier high up to ×3, you can see that most of the damage is now either orange crits or red crits. And whether he does a sliding attack or whether he does continues on with the combo attack, either the Maiming Strike or the Blood Rush will give him these high values of crit. And so this really shows just how well this weapon can work. Again, you gotta understand, this is an MR4 weapon, and he's getting literally 1,000 bit point damages on a level 100 Heavy Gunner. Oh, there's one more left here. Okay, so this one shows just how useful body count is, because of course if we didn't have that on, we would have lost the combo multiplier looking for this last enemy. But with the body count, of course, it extends it, and because of that, you could get the critical multipliers to continue on. And finally, in a real mission example, you could see that since the Guandao takes advantage of the combo stacking to get its crit advantage, using Blood Rush and Body Count, it fares well against missions where you have a lot of enemy coming non-stop. So you don't want any gaps occurring between enemies because that may reset the combo multiplier. So survival missions turn out to be really good. And I have Rhino here running 30 minutes into a mission in Mott, which is a void survival mission, one of the highest survival missions in the game. And you can see that he's doing quite well here. Again, his combo multiplier did reset when he restarted or activated that survival pod, but he's still getting red crit, and he's getting some seriously high damages, oftentimes up in the 10,000 level. And of course, by this time, the enemies around in the 60 to 70 level range, and he's still getting some pretty high damage to occur using this weapon. So yeah, I'm right now having Rhino only use the Guandao, and you can still see that he's getting some decent kills with some decent damage in the thousands to 10,000s range, and you can see that a good amount of the damage is either orange crits or red crits. And for a mastery rank 4 weapon to give this sort of damage is phenomenal. Actually, for any melee weapon to give this sort of damage is pretty impressive, but when you realize that this is a mastery 4 ranked weapon, then you realize just how nice this weapon can be for new players. So in the end, the Guandao turns out to be a very nice weapon for any player, a veteran player or a new player, but because it is a MR4 ranked weapon, it is available for a new player, and that makes it a tremendous opportunity for any new player to get a very decent weapon. And if you can get this weapon, and if you can mod it with the proper mods, then you can turn it into a very nice high damage weapon, even for relatively higher level missions. And if you have a lower level mission like I have here, which is Zabala, which is the Dark Sector survival mission that's counterpart to Akkad in Eris, you could see that you could get some outrageous damage values from this weapon. And so yeah, the Guandao turns out to be a very nice weapon. I think that I will continue to use this. It'll be interesting to see for me whether I will continue to use this or whether I will use the Legion, which is one of my favorite of the Polearm sort of weapons. However, it's probably not a either or for me. I'll probably find that for certain missions, the Guandao is perfect. For others, it might end up being the Legion. But yeah, it's really hard to ignore the fact that you could get some serious damage coming out of this weapon. Okay, so that's it for this episode of this Warframe video. I thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any comments, especially if you've used the Guandao, and have some advice or ideas, then I would love to hear from you. Please post it in the comment section below, and I will continue on to make Warframe videos in the future. It's our pleasure to make these videos for you. We wish you all the best in your Warframe gaming, and until the next video, Jaya, nice day everyone.